job. And oh, Andrea is here. Okay.
Hi.
Mr. Pugliosi, how are you?
Long time.
Long time no see. It's like an old reunion.
And if you let me, I would like to greet another friend of mine, Mr. Boban.
Yes.
Finally,
Yeah.
our first time. I
Oh.
can hear your voice. Finally, I'm very happy.
Thank you. Thank you. And Andrea is your name, yes?
No, Marco, my name.
You are Marco.
Yeah,
Oh,
Andrea
yes.
is my son, my eldest son.
Oh,
Thomas.
of course. Yes, I see the video
Yeah.
picture, and I think this is Marco, but I see Andrea name.
Yeah,
Who
no,
is Andrea?
Wrong
probably.
account, wrong account.
Yeah, in fact,
Oh,
time to time, he like changing his profile, no, making a pretense of being myself. But
You
there is
just
only
want
one
excellent.
Marco. It's me.
you're trying to be
Yes,
younger than you are, Marco.
Yeah, you know, it's
yes.
one of my several flaws of defects.
Yes, I think we all have that fault.
Especially at our age, Thomas.
Yes, I know, I know. Don't tell me about it.
Okay, stop doing saying that.
So yes, so today is about fixing problems at work. I haven't prepared this properly because Becky only just told me about an hour ago that she won't be able to make it. So that's why I'm here today. But we will try our best. I'm going to try and screen share and see how that works. Can you see this or
Yes.
yes?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Let me so let's start with, has anybody ever had problems at work which needed fixing? Marco, did you ever have problems at work that needed fixing?
You want to start with me?
I want to start with, I go on to Ken in a minute.
Yes.
And then Bovan.
You know, Thomas, no, having done my same job in our type of jobs, in fact, often there are many problems, no, to fix, especially amongst the colleagues, and of course, not only with them, but with doctors, patients. Of course, for other friends here, it's right to say that I am a nurse. I work in a hospital here in Pisa. So every day I work with suffering people, people they know best life moments, of course, and I really like doing my job, but at the same time, it's not very easy to deal with all this kind of figure inside my workplace. So probably every day I have to try to deal with some problems, some issues. So I try to fix them. Of course, probably I'm not the best. I am not the best solution for them because I am a human being, a humble human being. Probably, not probably, surely I make mistake all the times, but I try to be humble and to be positive in my way of approaching with my colleagues, and then but the best important things for me is the best way to approach it with the patients because they are uh, in the worst moments, and they uh, I can say they can real their lives, their soul, their mind, their heart towards us, nurses, doctors, and all other figures that work in a hospital world. So yes, problem every day, but I do think in every kind of work or job.
Okay. What about you, Ken? Have you had problems at work ever, or has it always been fantastic and smooth?
No, I have.
Firstly, hello, Ken. Sorry, but it's me today, so
No, hello. Yeah, I think it is a first time for me to learn from you. I think. Yeah, your class, taking your class.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so have you ever had problems at work, Ken?
Oh yeah, because I have a lot of problems. So remember when I was teaching training, you know, usually we made a teaching plan for that, and also I'm not good at it, and good at holding class or how to teach or something. So I rely on my teaching, how can I say, kind of plan on note. And but I forgot one class. I forgot bring a note to the classroom.
Oh God,
So,
like me today.
but anyway, I think mature teacher can deal with that easily because maybe. But I was not so. But I decided I could bring back to take the note. But I decided, okay, this class teach without my teaching plan. Maybe I think I remember it, and then
Okay.
I maybe managed it. I'm not sure, but yeah. So not being panic also is, I think, is important. Probably,
Yes. Okay.
if that happens. Yeah.
But what about with other colleagues, for example? I mean, have you had problems with other colleagues or conflicts or anything like that?
Yeah, that's difficult. Yeah.
Hello? I think
Hello?
are you still there, Ken?
Yes.
Okay. So what about with other colleagues? Have you had any conflicts there?
I try not to, but I'm a human, so sometimes I have something, but it's difficult to deal with that, because. But so maybe I try to manage myself to how to deal with that because it's difficult to change others.
Oh, it is difficult to change others. You can't change others, really.
Right.
I think
So,
you can have a little bit of influence, but I'm not sure you can change people. But
right.
absolutely. Boban, you work on a ship with lots and lots of people. So,
Yes.
so I'm sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure that sometimes you have quite a lot of conflict with other colleagues, yes? You can say it here. It's only 1 million people that will see it.
Yes, but conflict is not the right word. This is because you think of the passengers or the crew?
I'm talking about the crew, not the passenger. Passengers are your clients. They are always difficult. So.
Yes. About crew.
Yes.
Yes. What's happening? What's happening in my job? Because we sometimes have conflicts or problems. Maritime job is very specific job in global.
Yeah.
and here is the always new crew members.
Yeah.
Every contract, every month, every day, someone is new on the ship.
Yeah.
A lot of crew members have not experience, or very very little experience, because world is in the global crisis today is really, especially hospitality industry, big cruise ship, no more passengers, and salaries. What's the name? My father worked on the ship before many years, and I know this time before what's happening before 30 years or 20 years. Salary is much better.
Okay.
But today is situation, only officers, captain, staff captain, safety, security, chief engineer is okay. But crew members, musician,
Okay.
waiters, etc., this is like minimum of salary. Because of this, this is young crew members, 20 years, 22, 25 years, and someone is first time on the ship.
Okay.
First time, and because they don't know what's happening, what's the rules, learn English, learn the job, learn with passengers, and there is the like conflict. And what's in my especially in my job on the stage, I'm musician. I'm musician
Yes.
on board.
Bass player. Yes.
Yes, bass player.
That's right.
In my band, we have 5-6 show band.
Okay.
Concretely on the Marco Polo. Marco Polo is all ship, 54 years now.
Wow.
Marco Polo, all ship, yes.
She's very old.
Yes. First name on the Marco Polo is Alexander Pushkin. This is a Russian ship.
Okay.
Russian ship. And after English ship, and now is Greece company. In Greece company, Marco Polo. This is the biggest Greece company. We have 5 ships in fleet.
Okay.
Marco Polo, Astor, Astoria, Magellan, and Columbus. And one musician stay, second musician come next week. After this musician come new, and we are reading musician. We are read notes. Yes.
Okay.
And we have every day rehearsal, every day repeat music, and this is specific problem. Every day is new.
Okay.
Really?
Well, that's a good
really,
thing, no?
But this is good. It's not boring.
Yes, exactly. It's not boring. It's
boring.
it's like Marco's job. Every day is different. You never know who might walk through the ward. So
yes.
Okay, very good. So, but when you have a conflict, I mean, one of the things Becky would like us to discuss today. That's why I'm going to bring up the screen share now, if it works. Is why isn't it up there? Hold on, I'm going to have to. Okay. Now it should work. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the question really about, I mean, when I was working on, you know, in my job, a lot of people had conflicts with each other. Colleagues had conflicts with each other. Sometimes it was about holidays. Sometimes it was about a specific way of caring for our patients. Sometimes it was a conflict about procedural things, you know, whether people, my colleagues, my junior colleagues, for example, had done everything right. Sometimes it was about responsibility and who should do what. And sometimes it was about work ethics. Some people were lazier than others. So there were always a little bit of conflict between the people. And I guess, how do you actually deal with that? So Becky, you know, if you ever have problems at work, use the steps today to help you manage to get through the situation. But firstly, what do you think needs to happen in order to solve conflicts at work? So we'll start with Marco.
Yes, Thomas. Every day, it doesn't mean that you have to do or to have big problems at work.
Not every day.
No, in fact,
Yeah.
I was saying that in fact that even minor issues or questions or problems, of course, can have an impact, no, on your daily work. And
Yes.
of course, you know me a bit, no.
I do.
Yes, but only because I want to enrich my clarification by saying that I am a Pacific man. I love considering myself humble, at the same time quite clever. Let me define myself in that way. Only in this kind of situation. So I normally tended to not aggravate or to worsen the things. I try to find a compromise, no, a point of common an apparently argument. That's my way of approaching when this kind of things happen. You know, at least for me, they are a nuisance, and I don't like to have an argument in every situation, even in life. But you know, if someone want to bring me up in those kind of bad situation, of course, I have to defend myself. Of course, I have my right or I have my go to that person or those people. But in normal way, I tend to find a compromise. Normally, I don't want to have a last words. I try to listen. That's in my opinion, not only in work, a workplace, but in every situation in life. The most important things is try to listen to people. Many people, unfortunately, don't have this kind of skill. They tend to overspeak other people and say only the vision of life or vision of work in this kind of topic that we have today. So I try to listen to other people, and I try to put myself on their shoes, on their way of thinking, and try to find a compromise. That's my way of approaching this kind of minor problem, of course.
Okay. To talk over people. Over people.
To talk is the best recipe, in my opinion.
That's what. So let's say, because you work in health and you work with people who are very unwell, how do you deal with a conflict where maybe your colleague is making a mistake? Yes, a big mistake, maybe some wrong medication or something like that.
Yeah. I got what you meant to say. That's a very important question, and unfortunately, it happens not often, fortunately, but it can happen. And my first, if I see, I notice a colleague that make an important mistake. Uh, my first reaction is not to shout him or her uh, in the word or in the room where the patient is, but my reaction is to call him or her apart, another room, and asking him why he or she did that action or that example medication or that kind of things, and try to understand why he did so. Of course, it depends on what kind of problem you realized. If it's a big problem, of course, that's is him or her responsibility. He has to pay in some way. But in other big problem, but not at that high level, as I said, I call him or her apart in another room. I don't want to rebuke or improve. No, I have an improvement to him or to her in front of the patient, in front of the other colleagues. That's important to not diminish, in my opinion, his consideration of himself, of herself.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to briefly. We're gonna get a little bit more into how to actually deal with really quite tricky and difficult situations, maybe when you've been criticized. But we'll do that in a minute. So let me go to Ken. Ken, have you had experiences with other colleagues where things got a bit tricky, or maybe you weren't happy, or maybe they criticized you, or other things?
Yeah, it happened to me, and I think the maybe not being too emotional. I think also to observe the situation, also to think about why that happened. Maybe sometimes emotional people say the irrational thing, but behind that irrational thing, maybe some intention, is. So maybe searching for that intention, or also maybe as Marco said, searching for some point of compromise, somewhere in between, that person and me, to compromise point.
Okay. Let's just assume compromise and things have broken down between you and your boss. Okay, things are going quite badly. What sort of things do you think you can do as being employed, for example? Maybe not you personally, but maybe other people as well.
So okay, maybe there's no compromise point, right? If the broker.
Sometimes I think there is no compromise because maybe colleagues don't get on anymore, or because maybe there's a breach of trust, or all sorts of reasons why people don't get on. Or maybe they're not doing what the company wants them to do, for example. That could be a conflict. But what would you, as an employee, if you're an employee, if you're employed by a company and your boss calls you and constantly gives you a hard time, constantly criticizes you, constantly calls you into the office and whatnot, what do you think one should do as an employee?
It's difficult, actually. Some people, quit a job because of that. That's kind of harassment. And if I can find some people, or people can counsel with about that problem. Also, my colleague, face the same situation. Sometimes it happened, and not only me, but also other people. I counsel with them, and also the I don't know, maybe union or such kind of legal issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you should try some kind of mediation, possibly with the union, to see if they. I mean, that's not always possible, as we know. The unions have ever less power, but there might sometimes be a good case where the unions could maybe help to solve a conflict. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, Boban, let's assume we have I don't know, you're the employer, you're the boss, and
Yes.
you're the boss. Okay, you're the boss of I don't know, you're the
Band
boss.
leader.
Yes, you're the
Band
boss of
leader,
you're the
yes.
boss of the ship. You're the boss of the ship. But
Yeah.
you see that two colleagues don't get on. Okay, they're always row. They're always competitive. They're always undermine each other. As a boss, what do you think you can do?
As I am boss.
You're the boss.
Yes.
Hello, boss.
Oh, yes. But sometimes I'm really one of the leader in the band. My instrument is very important.
Yes.
Bass is fundament of the music. Bass is harmony, bass is rhythm, and bass is really fundament because every little my mistake is on the stage big mistake.
Okay, so you can really hear it.
Yes, and I really must be concentrated, be on the stage perfect. Every tact, every notes, every beginning, every end, because we play on the ship like concert. Concert, we have dancers. We have 10 dancers and we have 5 singers.
Bloody hell.
And this is like a Broadway shows.
Wow.
We have Broadway shows. We have rock and roll. We have all around the music, all around the world. Yes,
the balls.
Yes, a lot of kind of music. And yes. If guitar player playing something is wrong, like improvisation, like melody.
Yes.
Many passengers don't notice mistake. Oh, no problem. Guitar player try something new. Okay, blah blah. We have applause. Okay, or keyboard player and but bass and drums always like machines.
Yes.
From the beginning to end. And I'm a little sometimes I'm a little tired of
Yes.
of
Of
this. Yes.
And how do you deal with that, Boban? What do you do in order to solve that? I mean, do you talk to him and say, look, can you just play the notes you're supposed to, or what do you say?
Yes, I have answers. I play bass for 3 people. I am really very good and sometimes excellent bass player, because sometimes I replace guitar. Sometimes I plays for the piano.
Play, not plays.
Yes, play. If somebody is not sure what's happening, I am dealing this moment for the music. If singers don't know words, lyrics, If
Lyrics.
singer is not sure where is the beginning, where is the bridge or new songs, this moment I must be ready to start to help my colleagues.
So that's what you do, is you in essence, you're supporting them with
yes,
being a strong part of the band. Yes.
Yes, this is also and my job on the ship to support young people, to support unexperienced musician, and because I have 25 experience in job.
25 years.
Yeah, 25 years and more, maybe 30 years.
Don't say it. I know. I don't talk in years anymore. It's
all my life.
decade.
I'm in music all my life, really.
Okay.
Yes.
Brilliant. So Marco, imagine, let's go into Marco. Imagine you've got a couple of students and they, they really don't get on, and things have broken down. It's noticeable at work that they're not able to concentrate. And the quality of work in terms of, they're making mistakes, like they're not doing the proper blood pressure readings. They are, unable to keep the patient comfortable. They're slightly rough with the patient and handling them in the wrong way, all because they are really not getting on. How do you deal with that?
Well, fortunately, all those kind of things that you mentioned don't happen so frequently, fortunately. But when they happen, because they can happen, of course, I feel something discomfort, no, in myself, because as I said earlier, it's not. I'm not the best nurse to deal with this kind of thing, because at the first I don't like arguing with people. I don't like to rebuke people. I love living in peace, but unfortunately, sometimes you have to deal with this kind of thing. And as I said earlier, it's something that is related what I said just a few minutes ago. When I notice this kind of not so professional behaviors, I call this kind of people in the for example in nursing room, no, and I have a chat with them, asking what kind of problem they have, why they haven't are doing the right job, or the way that us nurses has taught them, for example. No, I try to understand what's wrong with them, or because sometimes I do think we have to try to put ourselves to other people. Maybe one day someone has woken up in the wrong way, or they have had a bad day in their family. Every day is not the same. We are not robot. We are not Robocop.
No.
No. So for this kind of reason, maybe that day you are not at your best. You can fail, and maybe just talking to that to those people, you can fix this kind of problem, because they can open, their self to you, and making you understand maybe that they are in bad mood or having had some problem with their family or things like that. So, in my opinion, most of the time you can fix this kind of bad behavior in with yeah, less damage or minor damages. Of course, there are some other situations when, unfortunately, some people tend to repeat the same mistakes, no? Times and times, many times. Even you have tried to teach them what is the right way, no, to perform a duty, a task, no, for example. In this kind of situation, of course, you have to be a bit strong with your words and say them that they have to be more careful because if not, you can, for example, if they are pupil nurse in my situation, I could even give a bad marks or bad vote, no, or bad note, so that it can affect the final vote in order to pass the exam. So, but at the beginning, I try to understand or to try to make people speak in their own, saying me why in that day they are behaving in not the professional way that they have learned. I love calling me more like a peacekeeper than a war.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because basically you would try everything to help them first. Yes, well, I understand.
Definitely.
But sometimes if it doesn't, if it's not possible through mediation, and then you would mark it, you would mark them down and put a note in the report. So to mark someone down is what you, the words you use.
If it happens, so I'm not happy.
Yes,
really.
No, absolutely. You know, so it's a balance between trying to, because you know you're responsible that these nurses, these student nurses, that at some point they will see patients. So of course it's quite a lot of responsibility. Okay, Ken, we've got a few minutes, so we're going to go back to the screen. Hopefully it'll work. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Very good. So we'll just read through this, and then a paragraph at the time. Hopefully we'll have enough time. So if you could read how to mediate, can you read that, or is the writing okay?
Yeah, for me it's okay.
Good.
How to mediate. First, you need the people involved. Let each of them talk about their experience on the topic. From there, hopefully you can work out a solution. Worst case scenario is that the other people understand everyone's perspective.
Okay, so it's pretty much what Marco has been saying, isn't it? To look at people and allow them to express their thoughts, their feelings, and so on. Okay, so read till the end of this paragraph as well.
Okay, you can work on a solution by getting suggestions from the other employees involved. Allow them to speak freely and give their opinions on how to solve the problem. Their input will be important as they might have a solution that you didn't think of.
Okay, so it's really about finding out what other people are thinking. What are, you know, when there's a conflict, maybe they have a solution themselves. So when people find out their own solution, it tends to be a little bit more effective. So try to find out how they would deal with it, with a difficult situation. Yeah. Okay, Boban, we're going to go over to you. Are you still around?
Okay.
Can you read it, or is it okay?
From the
later.
Later. Later, depending on the situation, you want to bring the same people together again in order to talk about what has changed and how they feel now. That way, if any issues are still bothering someone, you can discuss it then. Below, we have a script in which can be used in any conflicting situation.
Brilliant.
First, you must introduce yourself and the other mediator and allow the others to also introduce themselves.
And allow the others to also introduce themselves. Okay.
Allow the other to also introduce themselves.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Okay. So, yes, I'm not sure whether we want to go through this. We can. Okay. So this is an easy one for you. We'll start with Marco. Hopefully you know your name, Marco. Are you still there, Marco?
Mute.
Marco, mute the mic.
Oh, sorry. Because I was thinking.
What were you thinking, Marco?
Yeah, I was thinking what was my name, and
is it Andrea or is it Marco?
Yeah, in fact, I was following Boban's thoughts there. So no, okay. My name is Marco. It's Marco.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, etc. My name is Thomas. What are your names? So we go to Ken.
Okay. Maybe good morning. What
good morning. Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm Thomas, and what's your name, Boban? I know
my name is Boban or Bob.
Bob. Hello, Bob. Yes. How are you doing?
Yes.
All right?
All right.
Very good. We're here to find a solution, and it's not about taking sides or somebody's right or somebody's wrong, but it's really to look at how we can all work together, and make this place a better workplace. Okay, so that's the way I would do it. So in this meeting, I'd like to tell you now, do not call each other names. Do not interrupt each other. No physical fighting. I would hope not. Be open-minded in order to find solutions. So, open your mind and see what we can come up with. So that's kind of laying out, if you have a mediation meeting, that's kind of laying out the ground rules. Okay, it's quite important to do that in a meeting so that people know where they stand. And on the whole, people shouldn't talk over each other. They shouldn't interrupt each other. They shouldn't be rude to each other. They shouldn't be aggressive to each other. So this is just about talking and sort of getting some idea about, just see whether in a meeting like this we could come up.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Don't call each other's names, and without calling name, how can we call?
It's an idiom. To call each other names, it means you bastard, for example. If I call you Ken, you bastard, then I'm calling you a name. That's what it means. Okay, so it's rude words.
Okay, I got it. Yes.
So to call somebody, to call each other names just means to call each other rude names, really. Okay. So you shouldn't do that. Of course, you should call each other by your name, which is different, but to call each other names just simply means to be rude. So that's what it means. Yes. So after all the candidates agree to these rules, or two candidates are here, you can also mention that things are done in confidence. That's very difficult when you're a nurse, because what I always used to say to my students, or when I had junior colleagues, I used to say, everything you say on the whole will be confidential unless it is suggested that patient care was compromised or that you've done something illegal. And also because like Marco, hospitals are a big organization, and you have to obey the organizational code of conduct. Okay, that will be different in Marco's job slightly because they different speciality for me. But we all had a conduct that we had to follow, a professional conduct, and so not everything could be confidential. Sorry, Marco. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you are completely right.
So you know, you have to put that in depending on what your job is. Sometimes you can say everything is confidential, apart from when it's something illegal. But you know, obviously, if you tell me, let's say you tell me, as a nurse, you tell me, well, I gave this patient morphine instead of sodium. Then obviously you have a problem because that's very bad for the patient. It's the wrong drug. Then you would have to report it. So we can't keep everything. In some jobs, you can't keep everything confidential. Okay. So after the basic rules are established, actually, Marco, you can read this.
Okay, thanks. After the basic rules are established, then you can allow the candidates to each each tell their side of the story. A, please tell us why you are here. Candidate 1 speaks. B, okay, thank you. Now you may explain your side of the story. Candidate 2 speaks. A, thank you both for sharing. Now we will work on a solution. B, please tell us what you think would be an ideal solution to this problem. Both candidates explain their ideas.
So I guess this is the point where the candidates would go, well, I think we should deal with it this way, or the other candidate says, I think we should deal with it that way. And then the mediator still would try to use open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are questions that you can't answer with yes or with no. So, you know, how have things been going is an open question because you can't say yes or no, you know. Are you pissed off? It's not a good question because you can answer it with yes or no. So it's open-ended question that are useful when you mediate. Useful anyway in many situations. But Ken, maybe you can continue reading.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Now, what do you think of the other solutions? Each candidate can express their opinion of each other solution. Now, the mediator will have to come up with a fair solution for parties, candidates.
Boban, you can continue this. We almost finished.
We have agreed on this solution. Explain solution. What do you think? Is this something that could work for both of you? When both candidates agree on the new solution, both candidates should repeat it so they fully understand. Next, they should sign an agreement.
Okay.
If you both agree, please sign and date this agreement. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Very good. Okay, I think that's it. So, Marco, what do you think?
Yes,
is that pretty much correct?
No, you know, sometimes it's easier than done. I know it would be the perfect world where these kind of things happen, no, so easily. But in the reality,
it's a lot more difficult.
yeah, in fact, that what I was going to say. In the reality, or at least where I usually work, rarely I seen or I lived this kind of solution.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
Really, because probably when you you have this kind of solution, or you try to fix the problem with those kind of solution, you should have in front of you people they are clever in the way, or intelligent in the way that they have in their mind even the ability to recognize the mistakes, and not to point the finger only to other people's mistakes. That's the first things. So you should have all these kind of people, and not always, at least from my experience in my job, it's not so easy. It's not so easy because because there sometimes you have to do with people that are very, very stubborn.
That's a brilliant word. Yes.
Yeah. They are very big headed.
But it's also Marco, quite a stressful job. So people sometimes can get quite heated, I think. So because it's a very difficult job, isn't it? Really.
No, but don't get me wrong. I don't want to diminish the value of this list of act or behaviors, that everyone should have in this kind of situation. You start even in every countries, there are lots of laws or bills, that they say the behavior of people, but people keep on stealing, keep on killing other people. So but it's a way you have to try. I don't want to be pessimistic. Sorry, I am an optimistic person.
That's another subject altogether, I think. So yes, I agree.
Maybe for another time.
Maybe for another time. Okay, Ken. Any few last words? Things you would do differently, or do you agree with the general, sitting together, coming up with an agreement, and then sort of, working on a solution together? Is that pretty much what you think as well, or do you have other ideas?
Yeah, I think it's correct. Things should be done like this, but sometimes, or many times,
like Marcus said, yes, sometimes it's impossible, isn't it? Absolutely.
Also, I can say that the debate sometimes, I don't like debate because debate always find searching for the clear answer, black and white. I think like that. Only one opinion only. In the debate much we are allowed in such kind of. I think it's a natural way of thinking for humans.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure it's natural, but it's certainly true that that's often the case. Yes. So, Boban, for you, I think some last words. I think you could take maybe your colleague's guitar and hit him over the head, No?
my conflict, yes, of course. Sometimes I'm on the stage, Marco Polo, at 5 p.m. But what's happening? My colleagues from Romania, saxophonist, he's sleeping in the cabin. and we waiting. Where is the cost? I really don't know, because this day a ship is in Valencia, in the Spain, and nice weather, nice city, everything is fine, and walking 3 hours, and he's very tired. And he forget to come to rehearse.
Too much alcohol, I think.
No alcohol, but he's tired this day. And what's happening? Band leader told me, Boban, please go to cabin and check your roommate very skilled. And please ask him to come to stage. And I always support my colleagues and my musician.
Of course, I think everybody does. I mean, I always supported my colleagues.
Yes.
So, but it is now 4 o'clock, so we do have to come to an end for today. I hope Becky will be back next time, but not if she's not back, then you will probably. I think the next one is on Monday at 1 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. So do join us again, and wonderful, because I haven't done this in a long time, so I wasn't really prepared for this, but it was wonderful to have you here and see you both, all 3 of you, and of course Marco, a special guest today, and Ken and Baban. So yes, so let's get back together and do this a little bit more often. I can also do a few sessions and sort of we don't. Well, I shouldn't say that, but we don't really want 20 people like we had in Intanga in a room. So, yes, Marco.
No, I just wanted to greet you with this, my last word, by praising you a bit. When I read that you was the host of this lesson, that, to be honest, was the glue that attracted me. Sorry.
No problem. So you all take care. I'm going to stop.